Okay, so go live. Okay. Hello, everyone. We're a minute or so late, but we had a few things to juggle over there. So let me just quickly open up all my new tabs. If you are joining us today, I'd love for you to share where you are from and what you're hoping to learn today. And also type in and let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to open up the chat. Just open up in a new pop out for me so I can keep an eye on it. And yeah, so introduce yourselves in the chat and let us know where you're from. We'd love to hear from you. If you haven't done so already, we'd love for you to like and subscribe to the channel. We share monthly webinars and trainings for education marketers and marketing professionals in general. Take some time to actually log in to YouTube because it's worth it. It enables you to chat. This is going to be an interactive session. So if you can also just type in the chat if you can hear me, if everything's okay. I'd love for you to share if you can hear me. And today we have the pleasure of having Alyssa with us. Alyssa is our account manager at Roberts Digital. She has a lot of experience. Today we're speaking about mastering your content publishing. Yes. Cherry has just said hello from the Gold Coast. Audio's good. Ooh, we had a few issues with this live. I think I need an IT degree for next month, but in any case, we persevered. Today we're talking about mastering your content publishing. This is so central to our marketing roles. It takes up so much time. So we thought, let's do another session where we really just go into content publishing. Alyssa's our account manager. Alyssa, do you want to say hello to everyone and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, hi everybody. Nice to join you on the webinar. I have a social media background from the media industry. Where I'm used to very high engagement and consistent posting across a number of platforms. Lots of trial and error there, but it's definitely given me a lot of insight into how social media works.
Great. Okay, so I'll be looking forward to hearing from you today, Alyssa. It's going to be amazing. So we have Naomi saying hello from Adelaide at a early childhood education centre, probably. Hi, Naomi. And then Susie Stavens. Hi, Susie. I hope you're doing well. Great to have you on the webinar today. If you guys want to just write down what you hope to learn, that will just help us keep on track. And if you have questions about the content, as I said, take the time to log into YouTube so that you can actually comment and then ask us your questions live. And we will try to answer your questions in that section. We have hi Nicole from the Christian Education National, great organization equipping Christian schools. Okay, so before we get started, or I actually thought we'd get started on sharing content ideas, because we just need to sometimes take a step back and get ideas, about what to post and how to post it. And so we thought we'd start off the webinar with live kind of chat content ideas. But before we go there, I want to just talk about middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel content. For those of you who follow me, you're probably well aware of what this is, a marketing funnel. I talk about it every single time I host anything. But it's important for us when we are posting content to know in the back of our minds where this content fits in that funnel, so that each piece of content that we have actually has an objective. Davina says hello from secondary school in Southern Highlands, New South Wales. Welcome, Davina. Lovely to have you. A marketing funnel will guide people through stages of awareness. So the top of funnel is where people are in the interest and consideration phase. Middle of funnel is the intent and purchase phase, and then bottom of funnel is where they are ready to step across the line and actually buy. intent and purchase is bottom of funnel. Interest and consideration is middle of funnel, and then the awareness is top of funnel. Sorry, I got that wrong. And so for schools specifically, I also want to look at the retention side of things. So it's important that parents, we're focusing on our parents. We're building a connected, well-informed community, and a lot of what we do on our socials has to do with retention and community building. So I'll touch on that type of content as well. Let's just double check our chat here. We've got Cherie Green. I'm interested in learning how to schedule posts across multiple platforms simultaneously and how to create community engagement. Alyssa and I will look at that question specifically afterwards. I don't think we've addressed that in our presentation, and so we'll have a look at that afterwards.
Yeah, I do have an answer for you though.
Oh, great. Okay, so let's go to top of funnel content. So the first thing that I want to highlight here is that it's okay. Influence is okay and is more important than clicks. A lot of us judge the effectiveness of our social media content by how many people we can drive through to our website. But at the top of funnel, when you're just pushing your brand to new people, on platform influence is more important than clicks. So that's a very important concept to get across. And so try to adapt your content. If you find yourselves continuously posting content where it says, okay, click through to the website to read the blog post, think about actually bringing it onto the platform and having little snippets of content actually consumed entirely on platform. So the types of content, so educational posts, where you're providing value, you're providing educational resources, and also industry news. We have a lot of this sort of content on our Rob's Digital page. Another type of content for top of funnel is engaging questions. So this is to solicit a response from your community. So this could be something like, what's in your lunchbox? Or Alyssa, did you have any ideas to add there?
Yeah, actually, there's things, what's topical in the industry at the moment. I've recently seen conversations around finance management. Should it be in the curriculum? A question around that, something that will engage the community, particularly the parents in your community. Like, do you think finance management should be? Whatever is topical at that time.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, totally. You can share brand stories. So share your journey, tell the story, make it engaging and entertaining. Another kind of post that you can share top of funnel is a day in the life of, and this works really well in the education space. And the idea behind this is that you're humanizing your brand, you're putting faces behind the brand, and you're telling stories that aren't super curated and highly produced. They're just real, authentic pieces of content that tell your brand story. User generated content is really doing well for schools at the moment, and so this could be, it doesn't have to be face to camera. I think a lot of people are scared that they won't be able to get their consumers or their customers to do a video and share that on their social. So it doesn't have to be a video, although that's amazing and a gold standard in terms of user generated content. But you can just post ideas like, this is top tips for getting ready in the morning by Sally, a year 2 parent, and you can have a little photo of Sally and you can create like a nice little graphic to go with that user generated content. So try to think outside of the box. And other user generated content would be like students starting to give like weekly updates and highlights for you, and they often are happy to go on video.
And don't be afraid to literally share other people's content. If you've got alumni news or anything like that, if a graduate has exceeded somewhere, you share that. Literally just share their post. Don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah, great. So polls and quizzes, yes or no, put the vote out there. Those always get great engagement. People, want to have their say. Ask questions like, should children have tablets or TV screen time before school? Just throw that bomb in the water and see what happens. Event highlights. So focusing on events and like recaps and photos from the event and what happens at the athletics carnival and that sort of thing. That's great content there. Trying to make that content focus on events that would be applicable to the broader community. So this is not necessarily events like actually athletics carnivals and things like this. This would be more like fetes and fairs and bringing speakers in, those sort of events. And then fun facts. Share fun facts about your school. Look at the history of your school. Share a location that maybe not everyone's been to, or a facility area that no one knows about. Make the content engaging ways to explore your college. And then the last one, memes or humor. So we love this one. It works for our agency. So just having some fun. I think our clients are a little bit scared to use this one because they think it needs to be corporate. Maybe the principal won't approve it, or doesn't have the wish to do something like that, but it does really work when you can tap into the humor of being a parent and a school going mum or dad. So yeah.
Yeah. And I found audiences really like it when you're having fun as well. So creating memes that relate to the community is just such a good way to do that. And
Yeah,
everyone gets a laugh out of it.
totally.
So that moves on to middle of funnel content. And these ideas aim to educate potential clients about your services and nurture their interests. Sorry. So this is where you'll start talking about your brand, but in a fun or educational way. So creating a gap between where you're at and what you offer, create that need for your service, and show them that you can, fill that need. So this is where you can post things such as case studies, so if you're a school, like showing your literacy programs and results and things like that. FAQs, ask your registrar, ask your receptionist, what are people asking about? What do they want to know? And create an FAQ around that.
Yeah.
Promote upcoming webinars or events like this one. Testimonials, Google isn't the only place people go to for reviews. So definitely share those testimonials in really fun, engaging ways.
Yeah.
Provide tips that are relevant to your community, share success statistics, conversations, and sharing conversations with industry experts is a great one. Find out what your community wants to know about and really dive into that with another
Yeah.
industry expert.
Yeah, and
And if you,
if
sorry,
you're bringing in someone, like to give a talk, maybe think about asking them if they'd be willing to do another hour after their talk, where you produce social media content with them to both promote it, but also push after the fact ideas there that could work really well.
yeah, and that benefits them too because they can take that to their socials and get you an even wider reach. Collaboration is amazing.
Yeah.
In sharing blog posts as well is another great one. So if you do regular blogs or newsletters, don't let that content go to waste. Repurpose that for your socials. There's really engaging ways that you can do it in like carousel format, things like that. It's a great way to repurpose that content.
Yeah, great. Okay, and then next is bottom of funnel content. And this is typically where people want to start. They just want to cut to the chase and get to it and say, come to our open event. But bottom of funnel is really this is for people that are ready to make a decision, and they just need to take that next action. And so, bottom of funnel content could be like information about your enrollment process. It can be information about your specific offerings in the school. It can be open events or tour booking invitations. And then don't forget to also create urgency here. So we advise our clients not to advertise all their open events for the year on the page at once, because we really want to create urgency. The next open event is going to be your only opportunity to visit the school, and so driving that action. So don't forget to create that urgency. And then also a last piece of bottom of funnel content would be why choose us content. And so this is where you're going to take the time to really highlight your USPs in a creative way. And this is where you're bringing all that branding, those branding campaigns and creatives and videos that you've been creating to really drive those messages home. So the last thing for schools, especially, we can't forget to talk about that retention. A massive chunk of what we do at schools is engaging our current parent community. Those are the main people that are liking, commenting, and subscribing to our socials. And so this really is about thinking about if you have a year 4 student, what do they need to know so that they actually stay with you through to year 12? Thinking about that transition to high school where a lot of our private schools can lose their enrollments, okay? So the retention can include community announcements and updates, photos and videos from school events where their students are taking part in, highlights of students' achievements, what they've been up to, extracurricular activities that they've been doing, and also highlights of how you've delivered a great service to your students, new programs on offer, and also testimonials. Testimonials are great to keep your current parents happy so that they can realize, hey, I'm part of a community where all of our parents are thriving and happy and love being a part of this community. And it just gives them what they need so that they can move on to being ambassadors for your brand. So let me know in the chat if you have any questions about that different kind of content. I'm going to move on to what's working in content publishing and social media publishing. And I'm just going to open it up again. There we go. Keep an eye on it. Okay, so what's working? So the first thing that I want to say is working definitely for the last 2 or 3 years is short form content. I think people are scrolling. They want to get the message, but very quickly, and they want to get it in different formats. So no longer is it just, some text and an image. We need to get creative and create shorts and reels and start breaking up our content into quickly digestible pieces. So the ratio to create the thing that's specifically working is stories and reels in terms of pushing out content to broad audiences. I'd really for on all of the social platforms, wherever there's a mobile optimized format, they get more reach. Okay, because that's how people are consuming content. So stories are what show on the top of your news feed, and it only will show to fans and friends, people connected to your page. And it can include, it doesn't have to be a video, so it can include photos and text and music overlays and that sort of thing, or maybe a boomerang clip. But it only stays up for 24 hours. And this is great for connecting with your current audiences, okay? And you may think that losing that content in 24 hours is a big disadvantage, but actually the content will get so much reach within those 24 hours that it kind of makes up for the fact that it's lost on your newsfeed. Content is lost on your newsfeed after 24 hours in any case. I hate to break your heart, but it's true. And then, so the next sort of 9:16 format is Reels. So Reels really help you to push out to a broader audience and makes your content discoverable beyond just your page fans and followers. Okay, so the secret with Reels is to keep it under 60 seconds. That's the trick to make it applicable on whether you want to use it on YouTube or Meta or Instagram. Keep it under 60 seconds and you'll be able to use it on all of the different platforms. Then there's also a tool where you can remix content. And so Remix is available on Instagram and YouTube. And so that's a great tool where you can start to use other people's content and bring in your own perspective. And it's a great tool for schools to use if they want to give their 2 cents on like a thought or topic that's trending at the moment. Right, the next thing that's working is user-generated content. So this is the one that's really hard to get or obtain. It takes a little bit of effort, but once you systemize your ability to get user-generated content and start simple, you'll find that it becomes a regular part of your social media schedule. So user-generated content is so important because it's 35% more memorable to the people that consume the content than just regular content. UGC also gets 50% more engagement. So it doubles your 50% more engagement there. And also think about getting your PNC to do their update videos for you, or think about getting a mum to write a post for you, or to write a little quotable or a recipe, or how they manage their get ready for school routines or activities they do after pickup. Think about fun ways that you can ask your community questions and then turn that into visual content with a little bit of a design or a photo of them. You could also, the way that you can generate user generated content would be for you to create a little form that you can send out to your parents and say, fill out this form if you want us to post something. And then that way you can take that, upload the photo, create it into a social post. And it's an easy way to start getting content from your community.
I think user-generated content as well is just a great way to show your community that you care. Like, you're not just a corporate organization pumping out, what you want. You are looking at your community and studying your community and showing them that you care about what they say.
Yeah. Totally, totally. And then also don't forget your students. Your students are also users, and so student-generated content is also valuable, and students can give the highlights of the week and so forth. So yes, that's something to experiment with. Okay, so the next thing is quick release content. So this is the one that's quite hard to get right, but it's just important that, say, about 24 hours, that you're not posting content 24 hours after it's happened. People want to know, to have fresh updates on the day or the day after. They want to, while they're at the event, is when they're going to be most engaged and they're going to be checking their socials. Has the school said anything about this event that I'm at, and who else has something to say about this? So I try to, this is where your systems, the structure of how your team is set up, all is going to equip you to be able to quickly release content. So yeah, share the content just on or after events, and give real-time updates as soon as you possibly can, and equip your team with the skills to proofread, curate content, and publish it live, with the authority to publish live, so that your content can become more and more relevant for people. And then the next thing that's really working is for you to curate your content for each platform. So I know, and we all do it, where we just want to get this great content out and we publish it across platforms. But try to really think about the platforms, and we'll dig into this a bit later. Think about the use of each platform, how it's being used, and the audiences that are on it, and then adapt your content. So what we do when we're managing our social media for our schools is we will have different copy for Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, same core concept, and we may adapt the creative slightly. We may know that the reel format does well on Instagram, but for LinkedIn they like square, so we'll just adapt it for the platform. And so that will just make your content look more professional. And because if someone does follow you on more than one platform and they start seeing the same thing at the same time, they're going to disengage on the other platforms, is maybe what you don't want to happen. So if you find it hard to write different copy, then at least just modify your schedule so that you're posting it today on Facebook and tomorrow on LinkedIn. And you can use software like Monday.com to get this right. So yeah, that's something to think about in terms of what's working for you. Okay, so Alyssa, do you want to talk about viral content?
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't going viral the goal for everybody when we're posting on social media? How good would it be to just have your content get picked up and, see those thousands of views? So a really great tip to actually get your stuff to go viral is to jump on the marketing wave and take note of what's popular right now. A good example of this is when the Barbie movie came out, they did a bunch of promotion around it where they released the characters that were playing. This is Margot Robbie. She's stereotypical Barbie with a really standout creative. And what people did was they took that creative and added images of themselves, or silly memes, things like that. And said, like, for example, if Robert's Digital was to do one, we put Mara in the middle and be like, this Barbie is a marketing expert. Jump on board that trend, but make it your own.
Yeah, great. I love that. And this is where you get to have fun and you get to, I think that a lot of team building actually gets done when you're creating this sort of content. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's fun to create together. You have a laugh and it just builds that camaraderie as well.
absolutely. And your audience can tell when you're having fun, and it's just such a great thing to show.
Yeah, yeah, great. Okay, well, let's go into the nuances of each platform. As we said before, each platform is not the same. There's different audiences and purposes for each of the platforms. So let's go through the main ones and let's break down the audience, the tone that you should be using, and the types of content that you should be using on it. So, do you want to get started, Alyssa, with Instagram?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Instagram, you need to like look at the audience that's on there. And what we know from Instagram is that it's very visual centric, and it is a younger demographic. So you need to keep your tone really creative and vibrant to catch the attention of the audience. So you can share content such as your student achievements, campus life highlights, event snapshots, teacher spotlights, right? Um, educational quotes, anything like that, really, any sort of school promo as well. But just be sure to make it visually appealing, and always use the designs. So that when people are scrolling through their feed, they can see as soon as they look at the picture without reading the copy or without seeing your little logo on the side. I know exactly what organization or school I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, and then also on Instagram, so you can't really forget the hashtags. In the past, people would just spam the hashtags like with 20 or so.
Yeah,
But trends are shifting and it's changed now. And so what we recommend now is actually just keeping two very specific branded hashtags that you use for absolutely every single post on Instagram. I wouldn't really worry too much about your other platforms with hashtags,
yeah.
but make sure you always use those two. And then make three content relatable hashtags so that people that are searching whatever it is, whatever that content is, they will see yours in that hashtag as well.
Yeah. And one
Yeah.
thing that's been surprising me is the use of emojis. It seemed to die down a little bit, and now they use it
Yeah.
again a bit more.
Yeah.
And it actually can work in certain contexts to add a few emojis to highlight your content.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to use emojis, but also don't go too overboard, I suppose. I feel yeah, that's a bit of a giveaway that the person is just doing what they want and not really paying attention to what the audience likes when there's an overuse of emojis.
Yes, you need good discernment when you use
Yeah,
emojis.
yeah. Absolutely.
Right. So Facebook. So the Facebook audience is very general and broad. There's not many people that can't be reached on Facebook, especially for our audiences, and it's also family orientated. So we often have our clients ask, "Oh, is Facebook dying down?" And maybe for some industries it is, and certain specialist e-commerce brands are struggling and they're finding other platforms. But for families, it's such a great tool because mums use it in that stage of motherhood. We're finding that the numbers are super strong, the conversion rates are high, and the engagement rates are high. So yes, the general family orientated audience, and the tone to use on Facebook is one that's informal, it's relaxed, and it's community focused. And so you can share updates from your brand. You can share event photos, educational articles, student achievements, community involvement to showcase your school's culture, and you can so that you can engage with your parents, your students, and your alumni. So you can engage across the board on Facebook. It would be your go-to place for publishing your content. I'd say most of your posts will be posted on Facebook and then curated for other platforms. And then moving on to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is different. So the audience is more professional and career focused. We have found great conversion rates on LinkedIn. It's a slower moving machine though, so don't go in and post your post and look back 24 hours later and notice that your LinkedIn engagement is a lot lower. It takes a week for engagement to happen on LinkedIn. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're thinking about your frequency and how often you want to be posting on LinkedIn. So the tone, as I said, it's formal and informative. So you can share professional content such as alumni success stories, educational achievements, faculty expertise, industry partnerships, and what's happening there, school program updates. It's a great way for you to build a professional network. This is the perfect place for you to build the thought leadership and industry leadership for it as a school. So if you're doing anything that's a fresh new approach, you definitely want to be highlighting it on LinkedIn. And it's also a great place for you to be building your principals profile and the profile of your leadership staff. Each of their profiles should be brought into your content strategy, and they should be sharing content that you post as a page, but also sharing their own content on the platform.
And that brings us to TikTok. And TikTok is a newer social media platform that I know most people are quite hesitant to jump aboard. But it's so fantastic for reaching that younger generation that's, up and coming right now. The audience is, you want your content to be useful, but also entertaining. There's a lot of entertainment seekers on TikTok. So keep your
Yeah.
tone playful, but don't be afraid to get dramatic. I've seen some quite theatrical, um, entertaining and educational TikToks on there. So don't be afraid to do that because it really makes you stand out. Um, so if you're a school and if you're thinking about joining TikTok, you can share engaging content like overcoming educational challenges, like how-tos and sort of thing that help. I would say you're more targeting students on this one. There are still parents on there, but things that help them in their educational journey. Showcase their achievements, student achievements, things like that. Behind the scenes glimpses. One trend that I've seen very popular on TikTok in particular, and I know there's a couple of rules and regulations we need to follow about this, but it's videos of the teacher interacting with kindness towards a student. If they're having a hard day, it shows the teacher, but not the student at all, just some voices
Yeah.
on engaging with them and helping them through, their emotions and the day that they're having, things like that. Just really helps because, yeah, there is a lot of misinformation on TikTok. So having something engaging like that and shows, that the school cares about their students is such a great tool. But you can also share things like fun facts and other highlights and fun events that are going on to foster a vibrant and supportive community on TikTok.
Great. Okay. So now that we've shared all the different types of content, and we, have a to-do list for you for weeks, I think it would be non-studious of us if we didn't give you tips for managing your time and actually to focus on the areas that are going to bring you a return on investment. We can't do it all, and some of us don't have a full-time staff member to do social media for us because that's probably what it takes. Some of us are doing this in our spare time, an hour or two a day if we're lucky. So, how do we save time and still execute a great strategy? So, the first thing I'd like to recommend is that we break up our larger content into pieces. And so, if you are hosting, for example, if you have a professional speaker come in and host a webinar on parenting tips or something like that, take snippets, break that content into bite sized chunks, into 5 short videos, transcribe the content and turn it into short form blog article pieces or post pieces that you can share. So always think about how you can reuse pieces of content across the board. I think there's a lot of potential there. And then also create shorts. Shorts are a great way to create content. And so a short may be as simple as you looking at another video and giving commentary on it, or you looking back at an event that happened and speaking about why that event was such a great one for your community. So shorts are a great way to get fresh content out there in a reusable way. The next piece of content that really helps us to save time is nostalgia content. We don't have to kind of reinvent the wheel, but look back through your social media feed and think about things that you could share that would bring nostalgia up for your audience. So it would be like looking back at, oh, this was our first day we opened the kindergarten, or this was the first year 12 group. There's a photo of our first year 12s graduating, or this is the opening. This is back when we opened up a new building or facility, or the first time we offered this program. Think about going back and just do that every now and then, to go back to your feed and share those memories with your audience. And then the next thing that will help us save time is not to be scared of reposting content. So like a lot of social media managers will be like, what? I can't reshare content. But as I said before, your content actually dies after 24 hours, except LinkedIn accepted maybe a week. Your LinkedIn, your content is gone after a week. And so don't be scared that if you post a piece of content and it doesn't perform well, repost it again the next week, and it may actually reach new audiences. But if there's a piece of content that does do well, reshare it a few months later down the line, and you'll be surprised, because Facebook and Instagram, all of these platforms will automatically boost it to new audiences and get new reach and engagement for you. And that's a zero time strategy. The next thing in terms of saving time is to make it a team effort. So if it's just you talking and it's just you sharing your perspective, you'll find that your feed gets very stale very quickly. And so try to incorporate the team, communicate with the team, and try to bring in different people that can share content. And so it may mean talking to leadership about the structure of approvals and getting special people that are trained and approved. And all of that, building that foundations, is worth it, because you're going to have, at the end of the day, a team of people that can share relevant content. And they're also like your boots on the ground. And so that will make it a relevant content too. So, Alyssa, what should we do in terms of troubleshooting?
Yeah, definitely. We need to look at troubleshooting, because sometimes, you're sitting there, you're consistently posting, you're following all the rules,
Yeah.
yet you're still not seeing any results. And something that is often overlooked is a social media audit. Um,
Mhm.
Things, working in the media industry, I learned a lot about the importance of auditing, because what you don't know about Meta in particular is that they hide a lot of things based on reactions. So if you've shared a post and it's gotten a lot of negative, angry or sad reacts, or even just the comments are using negative keywords, your overall content that you publish will be pushed and hidden in your feed, in your community's feed. And I don't mean like if you've shared something controversial and they've negatively reacted. It could be as simple as sharing, "Oh, school's closed today due to a weather event," and people sad react. Meta doesn't put context into play here. They just see you've received a high number of sad reacts. You're obviously sharing problem content in their eyes. So go back through and remove those posts that have low engagement, negative engagement, that sort of thing, and you'll be surprised by the lift you see in engagement from doing so. Um, the other thing is, it is all about trial and error. So taking a look back through each month, you should be looking at the progress and the performance of your social media to see if it is improving or not, and have a look back at the posts that have done really well and the posts that haven't. And you need to make a change in your strategy from there. Plan the next month based on your last audit. These sorts of posts, your memes did really well, so maybe for the time being you need to do more memes to increase your engagement, or maybe they did really badly, so you need to either think about, do we stop memes altogether, or do we re-strategize the way we do memes? Maybe these particular memes aren't working for you. Other rules that people aren't really aware of are your calls to action. So be very specific with your calls to action. If it's register for an event or something like that, be specific about it. And this isn't the same for your ads. They have different rules, but for your general posting, never, or avoid as much as you can, say click or comment, because Meta sees that and they don't like it. They don't like you trying to cheat with getting your views and reactions and things like that.
Yeah.
So always avoid that sort of thing, and don't put it in your images either, because they know.
They know everything.
Yeah, and like they have silly little things like not resharing the same image. And what I mean by that is like you can
Mm,
reshare the exact same photo. Just make sure the properties are different, whether that be resizing or sharing a screenshot of it instead. That sort of
yeah.
thing really helps. It goes a long way.
Yeah, totally. And I think, just generally speaking, like focusing less on driving traffic to your website, because most of these platforms' objectives is to keep people on the platform.
Mm,
But the place where you can incorporate links is in your paid advertising. And so I don't think your organic social media content is complete unless you incorporate paid ads into your strategy. So you can share a post, so you can have a post that has no links in it. And then create an ad from it, and that's where you add the link. So don't think that you have to create the whole concept from scratch, so that you can post it organically and then use it as a paid ad. So just create the organic post that has engagement and interaction on the platform. And then when you bring that into your ads manager and use that post to create ads, that's where you can then add links and tracking to it. So there's a few reasons why you want to incorporate paid ads into your content strategy. Number one, it gives you more control over your audiences, and so you can really control who sees your content and why. And it's less connection with your current audiences. It helps you to push out to broader audiences. And so what I recommend marketers do is that they choose their top post each week and then create an ad out of it. And so you can have an ad set that boosts posts. I don't ever recommend choosing the boost post option, but you can have an ad set where you're continuously adding in successful content from each week, and switching off old content that's no longer generating conversions. Yeah, choose the best performing post for that strategy. The next reason why we want to use marketing is for the paid advertising is for the remarketing aspect of your paid media. So you can remarket your content to warm audiences, and this just enables your marketing strategy to push people further down that funnel and to get them more and more engaged and aware of what it takes to enroll or register in your school. Sometimes a lot of our content will be relevant to our current families, and because that content has so much engagement on it, it's going to perform well as an ad as well. So that's why that strategy is very important. And then the last reason why we want to incorporate paid ads into our content is because we can drive those actions and conversions, and we can start to use the pixel optimization. Every one of us should have Google tags and Facebook Meta pixels installed on our websites, and those pixels can be used to target more similar audiences and push out to cold audiences. So don't forget about your paid strategy. Even if it's a small chunk of your budget, it's definitely worth boosting all of your hard work and getting that end result for you by using your successful content. Great. So, do you want to go talking to Alyssa? Do you want to just chat about managing our brand?
Yeah,
On
yeah. So branding is obviously super important, and it shouldn't be forgotten on your social medias either. So to start off with, you should have really solid brand guidelines that you can ensure that your content is adhering to, especially if you are sharing that social media management role across a number of people in your team. Having
Mhm.
those brand guidelines established will really just make sure every single piece you put out is perfect for your brand. And a great way, something we really like to work with as well is templates. So, when you're looking at your marketing, your social media themes, the content that you want to be posting, things like that, set aside some time to create templates that are easily repurposed. If you're just sharing static images, have a template for that showcases that this is your brand, so that people know, like I said before, when as soon as they see that post, they know who they're looking at. And there's a variety of things you can choose from. Take a look at what other people in your industry, or sometimes even outside of your industry, are doing, and repurpose and make it your own. Come up with something similar that is more to your brand guidelines. Another good element is making sure your team members are consistent as well. So if you've got people across different elements, somebody does the imagery, somebody does the copy, and somebody else does the actual posting. Just make sure they're all consistently across it, and that you've got your proofing and approval processes in place to limit the number of mistakes. We are all humans. There will be the occasional post that goes out early or not at all, things like that. But just having these processes in place really limits and affects your content.
Yeah, amazing. Right. So let's get into let's address Alyssa. Let's address Cherie's question. So
Yeah.
Cherie asked, she's interested in learning how to schedule posts across multiple platforms simultaneously and how to create community engagement. I'll just let everyone know a little bit about our Roberts Digital services, and then we'll get to Cherie's question. So Roberts Digital actually does this for our clients. So we are part of the social media team for a few clients, and what we do is we post content for them. So our marketers have a board where they can just content dump ideas. Because we specialize, we just found this was a really good space for us to fill because we specialize in education marketing. Many of us have worked in schools. We all work in education marketing. And so when you say athletics carnival, we have the context. We know what you want to post. So when you say open event, we know exactly what it is and why it is and who you want to push it out to. So we have packages that start at around $1,200 a month, where we actually do your content posting, your social media for you. And it's a great alternative if you find that your school is at that phase where you're starting to need to hire someone to cover this role. It may be worth looking into Robert's Digital team helping you out. We have a great track record of posting out regular daily content for your school. So let's get to Cherie's question. Alyssa, did you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I did. So scheduling posts across multiple platforms is a little bit tricky because a lot of them, they're individuals, so they don't often talk to each other. So you can pay for services that do link all your social platforms together, and you set it on this third party platform. The post, you set it up there, and then it will connect to those and do it itself. But that's going to cost you money, things like that.
Yeah.
But LinkedIn has a built-in scheduler. It does mean you'll have to, if you're doing Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, it does mean you will have the two different scheduling platforms that you're using, but it is still available to you for
Yeah.
free. Whereas Meta is, because Facebook and Instagram fall under the umbrella of Meta, it's a lot easier to schedule your posts. And they now have made it the default that all content will be published to both your Facebook and your Instagram. So just make sure if you don't want it across both, you change that. At the very top, it says post to, and you just click the drop down box and choose where you're going.
Yeah.
If it is going across both, you can customize it, and you should, because as we've discussed, your content should
Totally.
be separate. So there's a little checkbox that you can tick, and it says customize post for Facebook and Instagram, and then you can, jump between the two windows there.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, to schedule across multiple platforms, you will need to pay for a third-party service there. At the moment, I haven't seen a good one that's free.
Yeah.
I think we recently tried Canva, didn't we, Mara?
Yeah,
And
we've
it was
tried
sort of a
everything.
flop.
I
Yeah.
think as our team, and we work across this all the time, we've just found it also reduces the reach of your content. So if you're using third parties, like as much as
Mm.
possible, these platforms are actually trying to dissuade these platforms from offering that as a service. So you may find that it actually affects your content reach. But I don't think there's a lot of time saving in posting the same like using a tool to post everywhere. I think that the actual time saving is having a tool where you can plan your cross platform content. And so we use Monday.com and to plan all of our social media, and we'll have the different variations there, and we can look at the content calendar. Canva has great tools. Canva is an absolute must have for any social media, anything. The templates are amazing. You can create templates. You can have brand identities for different organizations. It's an amazing tool, but they do have a scheduler, but we haven't used that. We're aware of its functionality. You may want to play with it a bit, but probably dissuade it. I mean, if it's an absolute must-have and it's like that or nothing, then try Canva, try Hootsuite, all the other. There's Sprout Social, different tools out there. You can read reviews online, but I don't think it's going to make your strategy more effective, to be honest.
Yeah, just having all that content that you need in one place. Like I'm used to Excel spreadsheets, nice and cheap.
Yeah.
But just having it all there so that you can literally just copy and paste into those platform
Totally.
schedulers is just as effective.
Yeah. So Leanne Dib asks, what's typically better, paid ad or a boosted post? So paid ads are 1,000 times better than boosted posts. Whenever you look at the metrics of boosted posts, they will see lower clicks and huge amounts of reach. But the thing that you don't have control of with boosted posts is the audience. And so, unfortunately, a lot of these social media platforms are amazing at generating useless engagement that means nothing for your brand. And so that's why, as an agency, we always run conversion campaigns that are driving optimized for that action that we want to drive. We never just, our objective is never reach. It should never be reach on Meta. And so unfortunately they've increased the controls on boosted posts, but still it will never compare to creating an ad set in the ads manager, being very particular, having the pixel installed, using the pixel information, and then going for the audience that you want to target. It just gives you more control. And then also in the metrics afterwards, you can better diagnose exactly what's happening, which platforms it's showing on, which devices it's showing on, who's converting, when they converted, and that sort of thing. So boost posts are very intro level, and I would probably not recommend them unless you are absolutely desperate. So Shuri says thank you. I realize now that would be less effective using. Yeah, great. There's lots of other things that you could do besides using a scheduling platform. Great. If anyone has any more questions, let us know in the chat. Otherwise, it's been great. Alyssa, it's been so much fun having someone to talk to on these lives. I'm not talking to myself anymore. So that's been nice.
It was fun to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, everybody.
Right. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.